Inwood and Charlestown Ranson.
We have the tools, we have the talent. It's Miller time.
It's Miller time on Talk Radio WRNR. A look at local sports with the play-by-play voice of local sports, Matt Miller.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome into Miller Time on this Monday, a rainy Monday around the Panhandle and the region. It was a wet weekend, but still plenty of great sports to talk about, from the high school football scene on Friday to the college football scene on Saturday and the NFL football scene on Sunday, and continuing with two games on this Monday night football opening night. And there's still some baseball to talk about in there as well. Welcome in.
It's funny how quickly baseball takes a backseat, isn't it?
At least
like for the time being.
When your team's not doing well, yes. I think for the cities that are still in the hunt, there's still that interest there. But if you're a Washington, D.C. sports fan and the Nationals have fallen off the way they have fallen off while the Redskins started the way they started, yeah, the attention has quickly shifted from baseball to football.
And the Capitals are only a month away from dropping the puck in regular season.
That's hard to believe.
And the Mystics are in the WNBA Finals.
That's right.
They're down 0-2, though. They lost by 2 last night.
Do you know what the score was in the first game?
No.
Was it close or?
No. I thought I was going to make you a WNBA fan and you were going to keep up with that.
It's the best of 5?
Yeah, so they dug themselves a pretty good hole.
Yeah, they've got to win 3 in a row now.
Yeah.
Down 0-2.
No big deal.
No big deal?
No big deal.
Well, they won the Eastern Conference Final in 5, right?
Yep.
So
they beat Atlanta in 5.
And I believe they had to win Game 4 to get to Game 5, if I saw correctly. Again, not.
I was going to say you know more than I do
that closely, but I believe that was the case. So,
but regardless, it's football season.
No. We got to talk more Mystics basketball.
We do. What else is there? I was going to say, what else is there to talk about?
I'm just kidding. Since you were trying to turn the attention to football, I thought, no, there's still basketball.
Yeah, why
to
would you
want
to shift the attention to football for any reason?
I think that's part of the issue with when the WNBA plays.
I don't.
It's just not.
You really think the time of their season matters? Again, I'm not saying this should just be an a-hole in any way, shape, or form, but do you really think that the WNBA would have just staggering numbers?
Absolutely.
Amazing numbers. Because they play in the middle of summer. There is no other basketball.
But I think that's part of my point, is that people aren't thinking basketball.
Yeah, but what are they going to think in the spring, the late winter, early spring, or in the fall? It's going to be focused on football at the college level, and then college basketball starts in early November, and then the NBA starts in mid to late October. So I don't really think there's a good time of year for WNBA basketball.
And that's unless they find a way to play simultaneously for a short period of time with, say, the NBA. But then
I don't think that matters.
Well, right.
Because what are you going to do? And where are they going to be on TV?
And college basketball is going on at the same time. So
yeah, what network is going to, unless they created a WNBA TV network, like they do with the NBA channel and stuff like that, what major network, what Fox Sports 1, ESPN, CBS Sports Network, ESPN 8, the Ocho, whatever it is, what network is going to take a WNBA game over any major, or not even any Division I college basketball game or an NBA game? And really, I think there's a bigger women's college basketball following than there is for a WNBA following.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in the rank of basketball at the college and professional levels, I think the WNBA is 4 out of 4.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I really don't think it matters what time of year it is. That's just my honest opinion.
You kind of wonder about, the upcoming new football league that's going to be not so much a challenge to the NFL, but hopefully a complement to the NFL, the way that I'm understanding
the Fighting McMahons?
Right. It won't be the XFL. No, he hate me and all of the, black footballs and the other craziness that went along with that XFL, but it's supposed to be geared more as a serious football league. Again, we'll wait and see how that goes, but it has to come at a time when the NFL is not playing, and you wonder if you can keep the interest.
I don't think that's going to work. I think there's been attempts, whether it's the CFL, whether it was the USFL, the United States Football League.
Speaking of that, did you see anything over the weekend of a book that is coming out regarding the USFL?
I did not.
Look it up.
Want to fill me in?
Oh, look it up online. This is going to be a must-read. I found myself gazing through this article that was really an excerpt out of the book, and the next thing I know, several minutes had gone by, and I was planning to do something else, and it just kind of drew me in of how wild and crazy the USFL was. How it came about, the hiring of coaches, the bringing in of players. It was just a unique and interesting read that 9 out of 10 people wouldn't know. And it was fun. I think it's going to be a book that will be well worth grabbing and reading once it's come. I didn't get from the article whether the book is out already or is going to be coming out shortly, and that's why it was written, but it's all about the USFL, and it was fascinating.
See, I don't even remember the USFL.
That's right, you're too young.
I was too young for the USFL.
And there were a number of players that played in the USFL that ultimately went on to stardom in the NFL.
Doug Flutie.
Yeah.
Doug Flutie was a USFL Hall of Famer and then went on to have a bounce-around NFL career.
Yep, there were a number of those players, and for whatever reason, didn't make it in the NFL right off the bat, but through the USFL, got that opportunity.
But my thing is, if something like that ended up folding, which was actually it was basically semi-professional NFL football. Or actually, it was professional; they were getting paid.
Right.
So I won't even say semi. It was a different form of professional football. If that didn't succeed, I don't know how the XFL is going to succeed. I get different times. It's 30 years since USFL folded, maybe even longer.
Yeah, it was back in the 80s.
So I don't know what's going to make the XFL, number one, different than it was last time, other than the way that it's being run.
Are they keeping the same name? Is it going to remain XFL, or
I think so.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything to the contrary, but I don't know. I just don't see how that can succeed. I think there's one NBA, there's one MLB, there's one NHL, and there's one NFL.
MLB's unique, though, because of how they're able to work minor leagues and how you've got the interest of baseball in smaller cities and towns all across the country that no other professional league has been able to mimic. The NBA does have used to be the D League for developmental league. Now it's the G League. I guess Gatorade is the main sponsor. And you have a few of those, but it doesn't seem to get the attention that minor league baseball gets. The NFL certainly doesn't have anything like that. You do now have the arena footballs and those types of
but even
opportunities.
Those I don't think have taken off all that much.
Right. It's got its niche.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you anything about the Washington Valor, who are the Arena Football League in D.C. I know they're there. I know there is a decent audience for it. And they play at the Verizon Center. That's about all I know about it.
It's not Verizon anymore, right?
I'm sorry.
Capital One.
The ATM.
The ATM.
Capital One Arena.
I didn't realize they even played there at the ATM.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun game to go watch.
I wouldn't mind going to watch it. Just in my priority of going to sporting, you never think about it.
Right.
Because it's not a mainstream. And I shouldn't even say, I guess college is considered mainstream sports. So I just never think. You just never think about it.
It's not professional, but certainly mainstream.
Yeah.
When you can get it on television just about any time you want, it's mainstream.
And college basketball is right around the corner, right? Mr. Scheduling hater for certain things.
Yeah, I know. November.
Midnight Madness for the first practice and everything.
Oh, that's a month away?
Yeah, that's early to mid-October.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting close to
You ever been to a
season.
Midnight Madness event with the Terrapins?
I've not.
In your proximity growing up to the university?
We almost went once when they were going to do an alumni game, but didn't end up going. But it's a huge deal at Maryland because that's where it started.
Mm-hmm.
Lefty Driesell started it at Maryland, so it's a big deal all around the country now. But it's been a big deal at Maryland for a long time. But I've never Never gone. I guess it was just a timing thing because, again, you got to be out in College Park at midnight, and then they actually start practicing after midnight, so you're there till 2 in the morning.
But I think that gimmick is part of why it starts too soon. You have to do something like that in order to garner some interest because at that particular moment in time, everybody's still thinking football. I'm not interested.
You think Midnight Madness brings that much attention to, college basketball's back?
It brings more than if they just started practicing and no one was really thinking about it. They would be getting ready to play in November, and a lot of people would kind of be going, oh, that's right, they did start practice.
Yeah, I guess I can see that.
But a Midnight Madness becomes an event. It becomes a way to draw attention to the sport that otherwise that sport's not getting at that particular moment in time.
All right, I'll buy that.
All right.
I'll buy what the Rock's cooking. Smell what the Rock's cooking, whatever you want to call it.
Nice.
We got to take a break. We just did an entire segment the day after the first Sunday of NFL football and didn't talk any NFL.
See, you're coming to my side.
I'm not coming to your side.
You're understanding there is life outside of the NFL.
The WNBA just got me.
You're understanding there are things that you can still enjoy about other athletics.
I never said I didn't enjoy them.
You don't have to be so caught up in your Redskins jersey there, Mr. Cooley.
We got to take a commercial break. We'll be right back, and we'll talk some NFL football at the other side of this break. You're listening to Miller Time on Talk Radio WRNR.
You're revving, Rudy, fired up. Beat us out at party code. I hope you had the time.
Talk Radio WRNR, in partnership with Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies, is proud to announce a new way of celebrating the best things in your life with your life announcements, but we need your help. When good things happen to you, we want to hear about it and let others in on it as well. Send us your birthdays and newborn birth announcements, engagements, weddings, wedding anniversaries. We want to hear about your family, your business, your church, or your organization's best moments and accomplishments. Welcome your new neighbors or pat your favorite teacher or coach on the back. Send us your attaboys and your attagirls. To send us your life announcements, email them to us at promo@talkradiowrnr.com or mail them to Talk Radio WRNR, P.O. Box 709, Martinsburg 25402, or go to www.talkradiowrnr.com for more details. Include as much information as you can, who's extending the wishes, and a way to contact you. We'll broadcast these announcements 3 times per day. It's your life announcements from Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies and Talk Radio WRNR.
I'm Omar Race with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. A Pro Bowl running back has been signed to a big extension, and no, it's not Le'Veon Bell. The Cardinals and David Johnson agreeing to a 3-year extension late Saturday night worth $39 million. Johnson gets $24 million guaranteed at signing and $30 million guaranteed overall, according to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. Rappaport also reporting that Chargers Pro Bowl defensive end Joey Bosa will see a foot specialist Wednesday to check out his left foot. Bosa already out week 1 due to the injury. Some other injury updates. Marshawn Lynch will play Monday night against the Rams, despite being limited in practice. Jermaine Hurst is doubtful for Monday's game against Detroit due to an abdomen injury. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Not many things scare me, kid. Vampires, werewolves, children, not one bit. But you know what does scare me? Downtime, inefficiency, scares the living daylights out of me. That's why I use Grainger. They're America's #1 source for industrial supplies. Plus, they've got the inventory management solutions that keep us running. So we've got uptime, we've got efficiency, we've got productivity. When it comes to keeping your facility running, Grainger's got your back. Call or click Grainger.com to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Napa know-how.
Right now, Mobil 1 Full Synthetic Motor Oil is $29.99 for a 5-quart jug. Its advanced formula provides maximum sludge protection, defending your engine like a catcher defends home plate. So, get top-notch engine protection with the Mobil 1 Full Synthetic 5-quart jug for $29.99. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General States pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 9/30/18.
L.A. Roberts is Berkeley County's oldest jeweler, where every season is new and exciting. In fact, new is old school to us, and though it's nothing new, our old traditions like exceptional service, quality, and value maintain L.A. Roberts Jewelers as the old master among so many new kids on the block. Whether you're a newcomer or part of the old guard, entrust all your fine jewelry needs to L.A. Roberts, Old World Jewelers for a new age, in historic downtown Martinsburg. Burke, Schultz, Harmon, and Jenkinson. We're accident, injury, and disability lawyers with over 120 years combined local trial experience. When injury or illness has stopped you from working, you may be eligible for Social Security disability. Ron Harmon has been winning disability claims for over a quarter of a century. Don't hire some out-of-state firm. Ron Harmon's in Martinsburg. He will meet with you right here in our office. Get a local lawyer you can trust. Call 304-LAWYERS for a free consultation. 304-LAWYERS or 304-263-0900.
And we welcome you back into Miller Time. A little Mario music for us. Were you good at that game?
Yeah, I was.
It's a youth thing, I think. Because
I've played it recently, and I'm not very good at it.
Well, I never, as an older person already, kind of getting into those kind of games with my kids and playing them, and they knew all the little shortcuts and sneaky places where you went down a tube or you went somewhere else and you did things, and, they gathered more coins or did whatever. Those kind of games I've never been good at.
See, I was good at it when I was a kid, but I played recently, and I'm just not nearly as good. I don't know whether it's that age in your life you're just that good at that specific game or what, but
and isn't it cool
nearly as good.
How you go from a game like the original Mario to where you've got all the other now Mario games that are a part of it, like Mario Kart.
I love Mario Kart. That is fun.
It was funny. I went to help a friend mow grass, not this past weekend, obviously, way too wet, but right around Labor Day. And at one point, he was kind of chasing me around a little bit as we were in the same general area. And
you want to throw a banana peel at him?
I looked back at him and told him that very thing. I said, if you get any closer, I'm throwing a banana peel. And we both had a good laugh over it. So, all right, let's talk a little NFL, and I'll let you begin. As I mentioned earlier, for those who are not watching on WRNR TV, that is our YouTube channel. And by the way, we are back up now. We've gotten all of the sound issues and everything cleared, and we've got a great picture. Eventually, we'll have some other split screen and close-up type pictures. Right now today, working with just the one camera, but have multiple camera views. You can watch us and get ready, I believe, next week on Monday, a week from today. You can watch us on cable channel 10 as well in Berkeley and Jefferson County. So look forward to that. But if you are watching, you'll notice Matt Crawford in his Chris Cooley jersey.
I wish Chris Cooley was here.
Celebrating, enjoying a win.
It's the first time since 2012 I've been able to celebrate a opening day win. The Redskins have not won their season opener since RG3's rookie year when he went down to New Orleans and beat the Saints. That's the last time the Redskins have won a season opener.
And
it's the first time Jay Gruden, he is now 1 for 4 in his season openers. Took him 5 tries, but 5th try's a charm. And boy, did they look good yesterday.
All right, now before we get into how good they looked and hear from some of the participants, we've got to go back to Friday because in our pick'ems, actually last Wednesday, remember we do our pick'ems Wednesday, we'll give you the results tomorrow because we still got to get through Monday Night Football, but neither one of us picked the Redskins in this game, partially because we hadn't really seen the Redskins play. A lot of the guys that were going to start and have important roles didn't get much time in the preseason. For whatever reason, didn't seem to matter.
It worked. It was one of the better games I've seen from the Redskins in a while. The defense looked phenomenal against a Arizona offense that was supposed to be, and they still may be. It may have just been game one issues they were having going out of the gate. The Carolina, or not I've said Carolina 3 or 4 times. The Cardinal offense was non-existent yesterday, and they're supposed to be one of the better offenses of the NFL.
Yeah.
David Johnson in the backfield, Sam Bradford under center, Larry Fitzgerald on the outside, and barely over 200 yards of total offense.
213.
That's a phenomenal game.
68 rushing, 145 passing yards.
If you would have told me that the Redskins would have only given up 68 rushing yards, I may have bought that. Just because I thought the Redskins' front seven coming into week 1 was very, very impressive. The secondary, only giving up that few yards to Sam Bradford when you have one of the best wide receivers of all time on the outside, no, you're insane. Because I really didn't think the secondary was going to look as good as they did. Fabian Moreau looked awesome. Quentin Dunbar looked awesome. Josh Norman saved a touchdown by punching a ball out in the end zone. So they looked. DJ Swearinger always plays well, but especially when he's back in his old stomping grounds in Arizona. But they just looked phenomenal. The offense looked great. Adrian Peterson, 96 yards on 23 carries. Yeah, he's the old guy. He
26.
26 carries? I thought it was 23 carries.
From what I read on the NFL earlier today, NFL website, they had listed 26 carries, 96 yards.
Even better. We're calling him the old guy, and I'll admit I was a tad skeptical. Not as skeptical as a lot of people were, but, I mean, it was consistent running by him yesterday. Alex Smith looked phenomenal. Jordan Reed played really well. The offense as a whole, I think the receiving core can get better, definitely, because they didn't have any numbers that were blown off the charts. But a good game yesterday for the Washington Redskins, and good to see Chris Thompson come back and be healthy.
Well, but you're talking 133 receiving yards from two backs out of the backfield.
Yeah.
You mentioned Adrian Peterson's running numbers. You left out he had 2 catches for an additional 70 yards, and then Chris Thompson out of the backfield had 6 grabs for 63 yards and a score. So
that's going to be dangerous if the receivers can get it together.
That's it. If the receivers are being guarded, you've got guys that can catch the football and make plays coming out of the backfield.
And it was. We'll get to some comments, and we may not get to all of them in this segment. We may get to them at in the bottom of the hour. But it was weird yesterday. You hear about mobile quarterbacks, and that was something that Alex Smith was touted coming to the Redskins. Okay, he's a little bit more mobile than Kirk Cousins will be in the future. Also, Cousins had a pretty good game yesterday for the Vikings.
He did.
But again, that doesn't matter anymore.
I was going to say, I didn't think he existed.
He doesn't.
Anymore.
He's dead to me. But watching Cousins be mobile the last couple years and comparing it to the way Alex Smith is mobile is night and day. Alex Smith moves the pocket and rolls out and still looks extremely comfortable whenever he stops running and throws, or he makes the decision very quickly he's going to run and throw or just flat out run. Comparing him to Cousins was very, I don't want to say jerky, I think is the best way to put it. He would hesitate to run. When he did, sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. And whenever the pocket started to collapse and he had to move one way or another, you got nervous because he wasn't the greatest throwing on the run quarterback. So watching those two in the pocket, or comparing those two in the pocket, I think we're night and day, and I think Alex Smith does a lot better job moving around in the pocket, moving outside the pocket, and making throws on the run, or just, again, tucking it and deciding to run a lot earlier.
21 of 30, 255 yards in the 2 passing touchdowns for Alex Smith. He was certainly outstanding. And again, what did you say? 13, 14 actual drop-back opportunities during the preseason. Yep. So we weren't 100% sure. I mean, you know his history. You know how good he's been, but that's been in a different uniform. So how was he going to adjust to this system? I would say he adjusted very well.
All right, let's hear from his head coach right now, Jay Gruden, following Gruden's first season opening win, and here's what he thought about his new quarterback.
Yeah, he did a great job, both on schedule and off schedule, and that's kind of the MO of his career. You know, he does a great job of managing the game, keeping us out of negative down and distance and negative plays, and he does a great job of extending plays from time to time also, so I couldn't be more excited about his performance, and moving forward, I think there's a lot to build on there.
Definitely a lot to build on. With Alex Smith, with the receiving core, but that was a very good foundation to lay. I think beating a good Cardinals team 24-6 to start the season and having a 21-0 lead at one point, that's a good foundation.
Yeah, and doing it on the road. You know, let's talk about that as well. A different time zone, you know, so you've got all the travel, you've got all of the energy and emotion and other things that are a part of a season opening game. You're playing a quality opponent. This is a big win to start the year for the Redskins because they've got some tough games right ahead of them. Maybe not the next
the Colts are going to be,
but Green Bay's right after that.
Yep.
And then you've got your own division, which is arguably one of the better.
All right, we got to get into break. News, weather, and NBC Sports Update. More Miller Time coming up next.
CBS News Update.
What we must remember is this hurricane is coming.
And Florence is getting bigger and stronger as it steams toward the East Coast. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster says many are evacuating ahead of the storm's arrival.
About 1 million people, we think, will be leaving the coast trying to escape this big hurricane.
Florence is now a Category 4 storm with sustained winds of 140 miles an hour. North Charleston Mayor Keith Summey.
Whether this is absolutely necessary or not, we don't know. But I can tell you, you would rather be safe and go ahead and evacuate if you think you need to, rather than stay.
Residents and visitors are concerned about the storm's impact on places like Myrtle Beach.
I just hope that everybody's safe down here because, it's a beautiful area, and I just kind of hate to see what the aftermath.
Florence could make landfall by Thursday, bringing torrential rain and possible flooding. CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
Now, with your local forecast, weatherman Bob Kukin.
Cloudy weather and fairly mild temperatures overnight with a few evening showers wrapping up and winding down. We'll see the low at sunrise about 65. Cloud cover for the daytime tomorrow. A warmer day than the last couple with highs getting up closer to 80 degrees. Small chance of a shower, but not much to speak of rain-wise. And still pretty dry for Wednesday as well. I'm Bob Kukin, Talk Radio, WRNR.
L.A. Roberts is Berkeley County's oldest jeweler, where every season is new and exciting. In fact, new is old school to us, and though it's nothing new, our old traditions like exceptional service, quality, and value maintain L.A. Roberts Jewelers as the old master among so many new kids on the block. Whether you're a newcomer or part of the old guard, entrust all your fine jewelry needs to L.A. Roberts, Old World Jewelers for a new age, in historic downtown Martinsburg.
If you're a victim in a motor vehicle wreck or injured due to another person's fault, at Ferretti Law Office, we get to work protecting your rights and getting you the money you need and deserve. The insurance companies handling your claims want a fast and cheap settlement. Before making that mistake, call Ferretti Law Office at 264-8505 to discuss your claim for free. You did not choose to be injured, but your choice of law firms can make a difference. At Ferretti Law Office, we're here to help.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
Lions a little after 7 o'clock Eastern. That'll be the first Monday Night Football game. Then it's Rams and Raiders. Still no word as to if Green Bay Packers superstar Aaron Rodgers will be available or not for this upcoming week. Has that knee injury. They are waiting on the return of some of the tests, although Rodgers says, yep, I'm playing. We do know this. Doug Baldwin from the Seahawks, a grade 2 partial MCL tear. Now, there still is no known factor on the severity of this, but typically it's a 2 to 3 week absence for that kind of injury. Delaney Walker, his season is done with a dislocated ankle, so bad news for him. Keegan Bradley beats Justin Rose in a playoff today to win the BMW Championship. 12 total baseball games were on the slate. Only 11 will be played. Mets and Marlins postponed to Thursday. I'm Keith Irizarry, and this is NBC Sports Radio.
Who should you call when it comes to your real estate legal needs?
This is Chris Luttrell, local real estate attorney with offices in Martinsburg and Charlestown. Let's be direct. Buying or selling your home is a matter not to be taken lightly. At my firm, Luttrell LLC, we possess the experience and knowledge to represent you and ensure your most important investment is protected. Give us a call at 304-267-3050, 304-267-3050, because at Luttrell LLC, your home is our business.
Let's see. Load the clothes in the washing machine, add detergent, turn on the washer. Wait, where's all this water coming from? Oh, no!
Disasters happen. Fire, water, and natural disasters. Tell your insurance provider you prefer Blue Ridge Property Restore. Blue Ridge Property Restore, getting you back from disaster faster.
She's gonna kill me.
And we welcome you back into Miller Time on this Monday evening. By the way, it's a Monday. That means we're going 2 full hours. Stay with us until 7 o'clock tonight. And then at 7, get all the latest on the West Virginia University Mountaineers. It's the Dana Holgerson Show. That will run until 9. Then we'll join in progress tonight. Game 1 of the Monday Night Football doubleheader, the Jets and the Lions. And then we'll follow it up with the late game, the Rams and the Raiders. I'm anxious to see how that Raiders game goes for John Gruden back on the sideline.
It'll be interesting.
Especially in that matchup. That's not an easy game.
The roster moves they've made over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, there's a player that used to be with the Raiders that's now with the Bears, had a pretty good game last night. What's that guy's name?
Khalil Mack.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Had himself a first half last night. The Bears, as a team, had a good first half last night, and then, well, Aaron Rodgers happened.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But first, you have a sheet in front of you that means...
Before we get into tomorrow in sports history, this segment of the show brought to us by the Washington Nationals, because they're still playing baseball, apparently.
Season's winding down. Just a couple weeks left.
Faith Day at National Park. Right up your alley, Mr. Miller. Come out to Nationals Park for Faith Day, Saturday, September 22nd. Watch the Nats and Mets at 4:05 and stick around for a post-game faith celebration featuring featuring Pastor David Platt, the NCC Worship Band, and National players. For more information, visit nationals.com/faith.
All right.
Could be a fun event.
Certainly sounds like it.
I was supposed to be at Nats Park yesterday, but Mother Nature decided she was going to have her way, and it's now postponed until Thursday.
Yeah, what a crazy weekend it was in our nation's capital at Nationals Park. We'll talk about that a little bit later on as well.
But right now, it's the bottom of the hour. You know what that means, right, Matt?
I do. Hit the music.
Time to take a look at tomorrow's date in sports history. A sad day to look at events, period. Tomorrow being September 11th, a very bad day in the history of the United States of America. But we'll try to give you some positives to look at throughout September 11th and looking at the sports side of things. 1912, the Philadelphia A's Eddie Collins steals 6 bases in one game. At some point, aren't you just pitching out and catching him stealing?
Maybe they tried. Maybe he was just that quick.
Speedy. 1927, Babe Ruth hits his 50th home run of the year en route to 60. I do believe the 27 Yankees were pretty good. I believe that's one of those teams that you read about in the history books.
Murderers Row type of lineup.
Yeah. 1928, Ty Cobb has his last at-bat. You know what he did?
Single.
Popped out. Against the New York Yankees. Moving on down the list. 1956, Cincinnati Red Frank Robinson ties the rookie record with 38 home runs. Rookies hit a lot more than that now.
I was going to say.
Just a tad. Aaron Judge, Giancarlo, all had pretty successful.
But I bet you Robinson didn't strike out as much either.
Probably not. He was probably a 275, 280 hitter.
Right.
Yeah. 1956, Yogi Berra, the famous Yankee catcher, ties the career record for home runs by a catcher at 236. So I'm guessing at some point over the next couple days, we will be reading one that says he broke that record. Although, I don't know, getting later in the season, maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't hit the season. We'll find out. 1959, Oriole pitcher Jerry Walker pitches 16 innings to beat the White Sox 1-0. Pitchers don't go 6 innings now.
I was going to say. I wonder how many pitches he threw overall.
I don't know. Again, Baseball Reference. Look that one up in the in the break. 1965, the Braves throw their second straight one-hitter against the Mets. So back-to-back games against the Mets, back-to-back days. And the Braves one-hit them in both games.
Tough 2 games for the Mets.
Yeah. 1983, finally some football this day in history. Franco Harris becomes the 3rd NFL running back to rush for 11,000 yards. Franco and his Italian army. There's another Franco one from 1983, same year. Franco Harris runs for 118 yards in the Steelers' 25-21 win at Green Bay and becomes only the 3rd player in NFL history. All right, I'm done. Same stat. They just gave more in the second one. All right, before I just totally bomb this whole thing, 1985, Pete Rose of the Cincinnati Reds gets hit number 4,192 off Eric Show of the San Diego Padres, eclipsing Ty Cobb's record. And I'll sound like a broken record again, but he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Not yet. I got to imagine at some point he goes in. At some point we'll reach a time and a place where enough baseball writers, association people, whoever are on that committee will eventually get him in.
All right, I lied. I got to do one more.
All right.
It's local. The Orioles' last game at Memorial Stadium in 1991. You saw a few games there, right?
Yes, I saw my first professional baseball game at Memorial and also saw my first NFL game at the same stadium when the Colts and the Bills played. Burt Jones was the quarterback for the Colts back in that day.
So that is your look at tomorrow in sports history. Hopefully it can enlighten a otherwise sad day in American history on September 11th.
I have to go to the MLB standings. I didn't even look over the weekend. Have the Orioles reached the magic milestone there of 100 losses this season?
I have no idea. I'm going to beat you to it, though.
Yeah, you probably are because my phone's not working.
Looking at the Major League Baseball standings, the Baltimore Orioles are 41-102.
There you go. Well, last week, you were mentioning to me...
The Red Sox are only at 98 wins.
Yeah, you were saying, I guess, that was kind of a thing going on at the time. It
wasn't. That was all on me. I didn't read that. Yeah, that'd be kind of funny. Matt and I were sitting in the studio before the show, and I went, the Red Sox are at 96 wins, and the Orioles are at 98 losses. Who's going to get to 100, respectfully, first? And you did say the Orioles, and it turns out they did that by losing four of their last. They've only won two of their last 8. Yeah, they lost 4 in a row. Yeah. So they're doing that at a pretty quick pace. And the Red Sox have only won 6 out of their last 10.
Yep, and they did come up with a win yesterday, so they're 98-46. So yeah, and I was writing down some of those major league standings. Atlanta with a 4.5 game lead over the Philadelphia Phillies. Our Washington Nationals completely out of the picture for the most part. Not mathematically, but they're done.
8 games back, yeah.
Then the Cubs lead the Central. Milwaukee
barely.
2 back.
The Cubs lost some ground this weekend. With that doubleheader loss on Saturday, they lost some ground.
Well, and that's the thing. I read where Joe Madden was not real pleased of how Friday night played out. That they got in, an inning and a half or a little more, and then there was the lengthy 3-hour delay. Yep. About 11:30 or so, it stopped raining, and the window seemed to be open for them to play. Now, I admit, that's late. It's 11:30 at night, but I think Madden seemed to be upset in the article that I read that they stuck around. Okay, if you're going to cancel it, go ahead and cancel it.
Yeah, don't keep us around until it looks like there's a break in the action and then say, nah, we're done.
Right. We're still here.
I get it's late, but I'm with him right now. If you're going to keep us around, we're going to prepare to play.
Yes.
Don't just drag us around until you decide to make a decision.
And he said at that point, they were ready to play. Okay, guys, let's do it. Here's our chance. Let's get out there and play. And the Nationals then decide, no, we're not going to play. And he says, now you're at the ballpark at 11:30. Oh, but what we're going to do is play a day-night doubleheader tomorrow. And then ultimately, there were delays in the doubleheader Saturday because of the weather forecast. And so they spent all that time at the ballpark Friday and then double that time at the ballpark on Saturday. It didn't go well as the Nationals swept the doubleheader 10-3 and 6-5. And by the way, in Saturday's doubleheader, Bryce Harper reached base 7 out of 8 at-bats in the 2 games.
It's not bad.
Not at all. And in fact,
only took him an entire year to do that.
Well, he's finally coming around, I guess. He's
batting 251.
National League Player of the Week. He hit .438 in 6 games over this past week. 7 hits in 16 at-bats, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 7 runs batted in. And here's the stat of the day. 2 strikeouts, 12 walks. He's back to putting the ball in play. Quit swinging for the fence every stinking time you swing the bat. Put the ball in play.
He had somebody tell him, hey, your big contract's coming up soon. You better raise that average.
He came around and scored 6 times as well, and so Bryce Harper swinging it well right now. The Nationals, by the way, in Philadelphia, hopefully they're not experiencing the lousy weather that we are in Philly, and they'll get a chance to play tonight. Game time at 7:05. Again, we will not have that broadcast for you. Hey, out west in the NL, Colorado has the lead, but the Dodgers only a half game back. The Diamondbacks 2.5 back. Pretty good race going on out there. And when you look at the wild card, Milwaukee and St. Louis right now hold the 2 spots, but the Dodgers are 1 back, the Diamondbacks 3, the Phillies 4.5, and Pittsburgh at an even 500 record right now is 7.5 back. Likely they're not going to catch them, but they're still at least in the mix where you could talk about them. Yeah. And who would have thought that? The Pirates are ahead of where the Nationals are.
Not me.
Nobody saw that coming in. Meanwhile, the American League, I think it's almost set. The Red Sox have an 8.5 game lead over the Yankees in the East.
I think the AL pennant is pretty much already set. Can you tell me honestly that anybody's going to beat the Red Sox?
Yes.
Who?
The Houston Astros. Didn't they just do it through the weekend?
I'm telling no.
Come on. How many times does the team with the best record in any league, whether it's the
NHL,
the NBA...
Have you seen how good the Red Sox are this year?
I understand.
They're historically good.
But you don't have to beat them all year. You have to beat them in a series. And that can certainly be done. So the Red Sox right now...
It can be. I don't think it's going to.
8.5 game lead over the Yankees. Cleveland is rolling in the Central. Minnesota is 15.5 back in second place.
Hey, there's still time. Come on.
No, because Minnesota's not catching them, and they're not getting in the wild card either. Out west, another good match as Houston and the A's are right there. Houston in first place, 89 and 54, and the Oakland A's. Where did they come from? 2.5 back. What I heard the other day, they've won like 40 of 56 games or something.
Yeah, they've been on a roll the second half of the season. They've been on a roll.
So the Yankees and A's right now own the wild card spots. Seattle's 7.5 back, and Tampa Bay is 8 back. Again, not likely that either of those two teams are going to catch up when you consider there's only a couple of weeks left now in the regular season. So, 3? I guess this week, next, and the following. And then, boom, your regular season's done. That's an awful lot of ground to make up. So I think the American League certainly looks a lot more set as to who is going to be in the playoffs, but even where they're going to be in the playoffs. The West is the only real battle going on. And then, which one of those teams that doesn't win the West is going to end up probably playing the Yankees in a wild card game.
So it makes this time of year so fun.
Yeah, I love it.
Not only do you have football starting up at all the levels, but you have the heart of baseball season and teams trying to make that playoff push.
And it's hard not to talk about our Nationals being in that playoff push after what's gone on the last
playoff push.
But that's what I'm saying. It's hard.
So it's hard to talk about the fact that they're not.
I mean, you look back and since 2010...
You phrase that differently.
My apologies. So over the last 9 years, I mean, they've been right there, pretty consistently. And the last couple of years, 90-plus wins. And coming into the season, you're thinking, this is a team that could go all the way this year. And here we are, one of the most exciting times of the year. And
it's what you get for thinking.
Talking next year.
That'll teach you to think again.
Next year.
All right, we got to get in our Mountaineer Minute break. Tony Caridi will fill you in on what happened over the weekend, looking up to the Halverson show tonight, the press conference show tomorrow. We'll come back and talk a little more NFL football with more Miller Time coming up after this.
Rich Greenback for Panhandle Printing and Design with the story of Billy Bennington. Billy wanted a new best friend, so he brought home a puppy. He didn't know his new best friend would keep him up at night. Now Spot isn't a puppy anymore. After almost a year of sleepless nights, Billy doesn't think of Spot as his best friend. That's when he turned to this intrepid reporter for Panhandle Printing and Design to help. I know if you need help with everything from design to production of stationery, envelopes, business cards, invitations, vinyl signs, banners, vehicle wrap, and more, your one-stop print shop, Panhandle Printing and Design, can help. They have something for everyone at Panhandle Printing and Design at 124 North Maple Avenue in Martinsburg. Call 304-267-7400, and you can even find them online, too. Here you go, Spot. Fetch. Well, Billy might have a few more sleepless nights, but don't stay up nights worrying about your printing needs. Depend on Panhandle Printing and Design.
Hurricane Florence puts a big question mark on West Virginia's game at NC State. Hi, everybody. That story coming up on today's Mountaineer Report, brought to us by Kroger, the official grocer of WVU Athletics.
When you order your groceries online at Kroger.com or with the Kroger app, you can do your shopping anytime, anywhere, like the gym, the office, or your favorite comfy couch. Plus, when you visit Kroger.com, you can find hundreds of money-saving digital coupons. And whether you place your order on your phone, tablet, or computer, it's still your neighborhood Kroger. So you'll find all the fresh choices, low prices, and great deals you love. And once you've selected your coupons and finished your shopping, you choose a pickup time that fits your schedule. And relax while your order is hand-picked, just the way you like it. Then all you have to do is hop in the car and drive to the store's pickup location. And a friendly Kroger associate will load your specially picked order for you. You don't even have to get out of your vehicle. It's so convenient. Save time. Shop online today at Kroger.com.
So who's been the most dominant force in college football through the first 2 weeks of the season? How about this one? Old Mother Nature. Yeah, a lot of weather-related problems in week one. West Virginia knows that. A 65-minute delay in its opener against Tennessee. And now comes word that Hurricane Florence is tracking toward the Carolinas, which means that Saturday's game between WVU and NC State is in question at this time. Athletic Director Shane Lyons and North Carolina State's Athletic Director will talk today, and they'll try to look at some contingencies if, in fact, Hurricane Florence tracks and hits, as is expected, into the Carolinas later this week. Meanwhile, some news and notes from the college football world. The AP poll and the USA Today coaches poll coming out yesterday. In that coaches poll, West Virginia goes up 2 spots. The Mountaineers are number 15. They are one of 4 teams from the Big 12 in the poll. Oklahoma at number 5, TCU at number 14, and Oklahoma State at number 19. That's the coaches poll. AP poll, West Virginia remains where it was at number 14. A couple of notes coming out of Saturday's victory over Youngstown State. West Virginia now 19-0 all-time against FCS opponents. Dana Holgerson is 8-0. West Virginia has now won 12 of its last 13 non-conference regular season games. A couple of first-time starters. Chase Burnt started at the right side guard in place of Joe Brown, and redshirt freshman Alex Sinkfield also started the game. Unfortunately, he didn't finish. He suffered an ankle injury, which is continuing to be evaluated. Sinkfield did look strong. He scored his first career touchdown in the game. That is today's Mountaineer Report, brought to us by Kroger, the official grocer of WVU Athletics.
If you're a hard-working man or woman, you want to get the best selection and value that you possibly can.
Hardworking folks know Appalachian Heating and Air Conditioning is the best way to get the service you need if you have a heating or cooling problem. They'll beat any written price. Offer 24-hour service with free estimates and affordable financing. 24 hours a day, call Appalachian Heating and Air Conditioning, where quality meets comfort, at 304-260-5644.
It's that time of year again. I'm Ron Springer, head golf professional at the Woods, and I'm excited to announce the second annual Tournament of Champions on October 5th. Want to dethrone the 2017 champs? Now's the time to enter your team into one of the many qualifying tournaments here at the Woods. Not only can you win more money for your sponsoring organization, you can also win great prizes for you and your teammates. For a list of qualifying tournaments, see ads in the Journal, Around the Panhandle, and at thewoods.com. It's on.
Welcome you back into Miller Time on this Monday evening. About 5 minutes or so left in this hour of the program, but don't go away. We've got another hour to come. We're on the air till 7 o'clock tonight, leading up to the Dana Holgerson Show, and then that leads us into Monday Night Football, joined in progress at 9 o'clock this evening. Let's go back to the NFL. We talked about the Redskins getting the win in Arizona, 24-6 yesterday. Heard from Jay Gruden. What about the quarterback himself? How comfortable was Alex Smith in this Redskins system?
Yeah, pumped to just get the win on the road against the defense. It was hard to prepare for that defense. They hadn't shown a ton of film. Watching a lot of Carolina stuff, getting ready, and I thought the way we came out and started moving the ball, able to finish off some drives in the red zone was big. It was good, but certainly started with running the football today. Our O-line, I thought, dominated.
You guys didn't really show a lot in the preseason either. How nice was it to open things up, use different formations, personnel, and really get to experience Jay's playbook and play calling in reality?
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, I think nice to be at full strength, getting those guys back healthy. I think a credit to them that they were ready to roll. Both those guys, CT and Jordan, making big plays, especially in that first half. 2 big plays in the red zone. Yeah, so, credit to them preparing themselves in practice. I thought we got great work in practice, as game-like as it could be in a controlled environment. So, yeah, it was fun to kind of get into a rhythm out there.
Yeah, that offense certainly did get into a rhythm and really kept that Cardinals defense on their heels throughout.
Especially in that first half. The second half, it slowed down a little bit. Only had 3 points in that second half. But it was still very promising to watch a Redskin team consistently get first downs throughout the entire game. At one point, the first down ratio was 30-5 in favor of the Redskins. And time of possession-wise, at one point in the third quarter, it was the Redskins had 25 minutes of offense, and the Cardinals had 6 or 7. It was a different feel of the offense than the Redskins have had at all under Jay Gruden. Because you look at the Jay Gruden regime, and it's been the debacle that was the beginning with RG3. Gave that a year. Then the switch to Cousins, and then Cousins feeling it out for the first year and a half, and then you kind of center the offense around no running game, a mediocre offensive line because of health, and trying to air the ball out all game, which, number one, isn't going to give you the ball that often because the clock's not going to run. And number two, it's not a balanced offense. And yesterday, seeing a well-balanced offense, we have a quarterback not knocking anybody's socks off, but playing very, very well, getting in the end zone a couple times, doing well in the red zone, converting third downs into first downs, and having a good run game.
It's funny the way you say that, not knocking anybody's socks off. He only missed 9 balls, 21 of 30. 255 yards is nothing to sneeze at. 2 touchdowns. No, it's just the style. It's him. Yeah. It's the way he plays. You get done, and it's not flashy.
You expect it from him.
Yeah.
But it's promising because it's still the beginning of this regime.
Yep.
Only 1 game under his belt.
You mentioned the ground game as well. Do we have enough time to get in a little comment from Adrian Peterson?
Let's hear from AP.
Yeah, definitely I do. Today was another good test for me. There's some things I know I have to work on personally to improve my game. I left a lot of yards out there, and there's some good film to watch. But as far as my cardio, I felt good. Condition, I felt strong out there. My eyes, for whatever reason, aren't as sharp as I expected them to be, because there was some missed holes there, missed opportunities. But that happens, and that's why you watch film, you improve, and you get better for the next week.
Yeah, I read something after the game last night that he said he probably left 60 or 70 yards on the field, and you could tell there were certain runs that you're looking at a hole going, oh, he should have cut that up a little bit sooner. Mm-hmm. Or I would have bounced that out 1 more hole. So, that's going to come with feeling out your offensive line, just getting back in the rhythm of football. Again, 3 weeks ago, Adrian Peterson was sitting on his couch, and he just rushed for 96 yards yesterday. I think as long as he stays healthy and the offensive line stays healthy, Adrian Peterson, I think, can be a productive running back this year.
So he's telling you he could have had 150 yards.
Yeah. I hope the Redskins don't blow the bank on him. I've never not been a fan of Adrian Peterson. I'm just not going to be a fan if they overpay him.
All right, well, don't go away. We need to take a break here at the top of the hour, but we are back with more Miller Time on Talk Radio WRNR Martinsburg.
Here
Here's your local news from Talk Radio WRNR. West Virginia U.S. Senators Shelley Moore Capito and Joe Manchin, members of the Senate Appropriations Committee, recently announced nearly $1.4 million in funding for West Virginia University through the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and Health Resources and Services Administration. The funding will support research intended to help reduce health disparities among West Virginians and analyze the effectiveness of telehealth programs. If you'd like to help clean up Rumsey Bridge, the Shepherdstown Rotary Club is looking for people to do just that. They'll be out there Tuesday morning at around 8. You can bring your own tools if you'd like, and they'll have some for you as well. The local chambers of commerce in both Jefferson and Berkeley counties will be hosting a free wellness series this fall. The first part's this Wednesday from noon to 1 at Shepherd University's Martinsburg Center at 261 Aiken Center. All of the events are free and open to the public, but registration is required. To register, just call the Berkeley County Chamber. I'm Adam Boardman, Talk Radio WRNR News.
Now, with your local forecast, weatherman Bob Kukin.
Nighttime weather is still overcast with a few scattered showers around, but they are dissipating, and through the late night, it should be a mostly dry time. Temperatures back to the middle 60s for the sunrise low temperature. We're looking at a cloudy day coming up for tomorrow, and still maybe a sprinkle or a scattered shower, but generally speaking, a drier day and a high near 80 degrees. More of the same for Wednesday, clouds at a high near 80. I'm Bob Kukin, Talk Radio WRNR.
West Virginia High School football.
Down the middle of the field to the 40. It's a foot race to the 30. Angling far side to the 20, to the 10, along the numbers to the 5, and into the end zone. Naeem Purdy has the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. 56 yards on the carry.
This Friday, it's an EPAC showdown as the Martinsburg Bulldogs visit the Spring Mills Cardinals with the kickoff at 7, our pregame at 6, Miller time at 5 on Talk Radio WRNR, your local leader in talk, news, sports.
We're at the Trane Heating and Air Conditioning Testing Facility to see exactly what kind of torture tests a Trane furnace endures.
The Trane application chamber tests the most extreme temperatures. This feels like an oven. It's hard to stop a Trane.
McRae has served our area for over 80 years. Special financing and rebates up to $1,000 are available now. Go to McRaeway.com to learn more. McRae and Trane. It's hard to stop a Trane. Really hard.
Trane, the most reliable heating and cooling brand.
Do you hear that? Nothing beats the sound of summer unless it's finding a way to make cleaning your pool easier. Now you can with Pool Life. Our complete line of premium pool care products is the easiest solution under the sun for crystal clear, clean pool fun. Get the most brilliant clean ever seen all summer long with Pool Life. Only at fine pool dealers like John's Pool Supplies, close to Gold's Gym on Eagle School Road in Martinsburg. Ask about quality PDC hot tubs. Phone 267-2000 or go online at johnspoolsupplies.com.
And we welcome you back into hour number 2 of Miller Time. Along with Matt Crawford, I'm Matt Miller. Join us if you would like to watch on WRNR TV through YouTube. If you want to watch later, it'll be archived there, so you can go back and check it out then. And mark your calendar. Next Monday, a week from today, you can watch us live on Cable Channel 10 or TV 10 in Berkeley and Jefferson counties.
It's a scary thought.
It is. It is.
You and I both have faces for radio. Now we're going to be on local cable
You
television.
get to see how the sausage is made, as they say.
Yes.
You'll watch our hand gestures as I use them more than Matt does, but, getting a hand, whoa, hold on, wait a minute, when somebody wants to chime in and get a point in or talk about something that was just said. So you'll get to see all of that and, a little bit of in between the commercial breaks, although a lot of that will be covered, so you don't have to watch us, during those times. But fun times, a lot of good things happening here at Talk Radio WRNR. All right, let's go back to the NFL. As exciting as it was yesterday for local Redskins fans, it had to be as equally disappointing for Pittsburgh Steelers fans. We are now a Steelers affiliate this year. I got a chance to listen to bits and pieces of this game, didn't get to listen all the way through, but the Steelers had a 21-7 lead in Cleveland against a Browns team that, let's face it, has not been very good for quite a long time, and a couple of very costly fumbles. Part of 4 overall turnovers on the day for the Steelers offense led to the Browns tying the game 21-21. And it went into overtime where the Steelers almost lost.
Yeah. They had to block a field goal at the end to keep from losing to the Browns in Week 1.
The blocked field goal with 9 seconds left in overtime gave the Steelers a chance to run one play. Nothing happening there, and it is a kiss your sister moment. 21-21.
It is the best start for the Cleveland Browns since 2004. I'm not joking. 0-1. I'm guessing this is the first season opener they haven't lost since 2004. It has to be. If that's their best start to the season since 2004.
Well, this is the first tie on opening day since 72, something like that.
I didn't even go into that detail.
Yeah,
I was just curious how bad the Browns were, and 2004 is the last time they didn't lose their opening game.
Now, just as far as the overall NFL, that's what I heard. It was early 70s, the last time that an NFL season opener ended in a tie. And
there shouldn't be ties. I'm sorry. You're playing a professional sport. You're going to tie.
I read you the article, and I'd have to go back and find the player's name because I didn't archive it in any way. But there was a Steelers player that Bleacher Report had the headline and had the picture of this particular player in uniform, helmet off, and said that this particular player for the Steelers said after the game he didn't even realize that you could tie in the NFL.
Donovan McNabb had that same reaction back in the mid-2000s when they tied. He had no idea you could tie. So apparently it's not very common knowledge. Apparently that's not what they go over in the rookie orientation and NFL boot camp as a rookie. But, all right, you want to hear from Tomlin or Big Ben?
Let's start with the head coach.
He was not too happy with how his team played yesterday.
Got to play better to ensure victory. That's what we talked about in there. That's what I told the group. You turn the ball over the way we did and you don't get turnovers, particularly in a hostile environment, man, you don't have a very good chance to win. It's because of those efforts we were in the game, but not enough to win today. We take responsibility for that. We tip our cap to the Browns. They played tough, competitive ball. We got to be better, we intend to be, but today was what it was. We'll analyze tomorrow and move forward.
When's the last time anybody called the Cleveland a hostile environment for football? I mean, I know the dog pounds are pretty good.
Yeah. It used to be.
I was going to say, I know there's still that core group of fans that hasn't gone anywhere, but I haven't heard anybody call Cleveland a hostile environment in a long time.
Well, maybe that's part of the excitement around where this group is heading, that, they're going in the right direction the way that the fans are feeling. And so I know listening to the broadcast yesterday, it was late in the game when I got to hear the end of regulation even, and the Steelers broadcast network commented about 4 turnovers today for the Steelers. And they said, we shouldn't even be in this game. And yet, here we are, 21-21, with a chance maybe in overtime.
Does that just prove how the Browns shouldn't be in that, like how bad the Browns are? To me, I think that shows how bad the Browns are.
Maybe.
Not necessarily how bad the Browns are, but
that they still have a way to go.
They're not going to be as good as everybody's expecting. They're going to be better because you can't get much worse than they were last year. It's hard to get less wins than 0.
They had a chance, though, in, 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
They really did have some opportunities.
Good teams find a way to win those games. Bad teams find a way to lose those games, and the Browns found a way to lose every game last year. So while I think they're going to be better, I think the game yesterday goes to show that they're not going to be nearly as good as everybody's expecting.
Well,
and the Steelers aren't going to be as good as everybody's expecting.
Ben Roethlisberger did not have a great game. He threw for 335 yards. Okay, that's a lot of yardage, but only the 1 touchdown and was 23 of 41.
Hey, he dropped back to pass 41 times. You're going to throw for 300 yards.
But not a great completion percentage, and didn't hit some key throws that maybe could have given them an opportunity to score a few more points. Let's hear from the quarterback himself.
Yeah, I mean, you felt like we had a chance, and our defense did a great job of giving us that chance. It's just frustrating that you can't, make the plays down the stretch, and then we didn't make them.
They didn't make them. That's right.
So pretty similar comments from Tomlin and Big Ben. And I do love listening to Mike Tomlin's interviews after a loss because he doesn't mix words.
No.
He tells you how it is, how he feels, and it's fun. You get the honest opinion from a coach. What a novel concept.
A bright spot out of this game, though, has to be the running of James Conner.
Think Le'Veon Bell's a little nervous?
31 carries, so they didn't hesitate to give him the football. 135 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. He did have a lost fumble, and that's a concern. You got to hold on to the football. But otherwise, you got to say a stellar performance in the start for James Conner.
And when you say they didn't hesitate to give him the ball, they shouldn't have. He's been the number 1 running back the entire offseason. Le'Veon Bell hadn't been there. All training camp, Conner was the number 1 back. All preseason, Conner was the number 1. So I'm glad they didn't hesitate because he's earned it. I mean, I guess it helps when the guy in front of you never shows up. It helps you earn a little bit. But he's put in his time. He's taken the 1 rep, so I don't think they should have adjusted their game plan at all, and they didn't.
They didn't. And he showed that he can get the job done. And so we'll see how the Steelers react heading into week 2 and see if they come out with a little fire in the belly after a tie in the opener.
It's tough to say.
Yeah, it is.
I remember when the Redskins tied the Bengals in London.
London, yes.
2 years back. I just remember getting up early on a Sunday to watch it because kickoff's at 9 o'clock. Getting up early and just going through that entire day going, wow, I just watched a tie. I don't know. You don't know how to feel. Well, we didn't lose. We also didn't win. It's a weird feeling as a fan.
Well, and ultimately it can come back to hurt you. It hurt the Redskins that year.
Yeah.
If they would have found a way to win that game, they may have been a playoff team.
Yeah, they went 7-8-1.
Yeah. If you're 9-7, then you've got an opportunity maybe, as opposed to 8-7-1. So we'll see if this hurts the Steelers in the long run, because it's a tie not only against just any team. It's not just a tie like the Redskins and the Bengals, two different conferences. Okay, it's a tie. It hurt the Red, but this is a division tie. So depending on how the Ravens do, depending on how the Bengals do, this is a game, depending on how the Browns do, that could hurt the Steelers in that regard as well.
And the Bengals and Ravens both got wins yesterday.
The
Ravens a tad bit more convincing of a win.
47-3.
The Bills look awful.
Against the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, I mean, atrocious. They might as well have not even had an offensive line yesterday. It was so, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from what the Ravens did yesterday. Give the Ravens a few more weeks before you go. Joe Flacco's back. The Ravens' defense is there. The offense is there. Give them a few weeks. I usually say that about every team. You shouldn't jump to conclusions the week. But when it comes to the Ravens game, give them a few weeks before you go, okay, Joe Flacco's back. He's good. Everything's good.
Well, he was pretty good. 25 of 34, 236 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I can't put into words how bad the Bills looked yesterday. Watching that game, being in this area, the CBS game, because CBS does AFC, Fox does NFC. That was the CBS game yesterday. Was the Bills and Ravens. And it was awful.
You can put it into words. Come on. They were worse than the Browns.
Yeah.
The Browns last year didn't look that bad.
Yeah. I think if you do the Browns of the last 3 years against the Bills from yesterday, it would have been a very competitive bad game. And I think the Browns may have come out on top. Because at least the Browns had some sort of defense over the last couple of years.
Right.
The Bills didn't have an offense or a defense.
Yeah, it was tough. They certainly didn't get any offense going with just 3 points, but certainly didn't help themselves out defensively, allowing 47.
And there's already a quarterback controversy now after week 1. Because Nate Peterman and Josh Allen played yesterday.
And neither did great.
Josh Allen looked better than Nate Peterman did.
Okay.
I'll give him that. Granted, the third-string Ravens defense was probably in at that point. But, yeah, Josh Allen definitely looked better than Nate Peterman.
Completely back to the drawing board for the Bills.
Yep.
Do we have anything from that game?
You want to hear from Mr. Flacco?
Yeah, let's
winning
hear.
Quarterback?
He had a great game.
Here's Joe Flacco.
Anytime you go and get a win in week 1, it's great. Anytime you can go out there and have a performance like we did, it's great. But we got to make sure we carry it over to next week, and it's going to be a quick week. I think we're ready for it. We always are, but we just got to make sure we build on this.
That is the key.
And they play Thursday night.
Yeah, they got a short week.
Yeah.
And
they had a long preseason.
5 games.
And then they have a short week 1 into week 2. So What was it? They played 5 games within like 21 days or something.
And now it's a division rival. It's the Bengals that they play. So, again, not only is it a short week going into Thursday, I thought they were just about maybe ready to do away with these Thursday games. I got to imagine that's going to be part of the next collective bargaining.
What was it last year that the Thursday night game, when you looked at it week after week, was the worst game of the week? For the majority, the Thursday night game statistically was the worst game of the week, combined between the two teams. And it's because they have no rest.
Right.
Guys you have a short week of practice, you don't have as much time to prepare. Because, especially the road teams, they're traveling. You have 2 days to prepare because you're traveling on the third day.
Yep.
And you don't get that day. Most NFL teams take Monday off. So you don't have that extra day to rest up. So you play a game on Sunday, and then you're back in action Monday with a full-on practice and a full-on practice Tuesday, maybe an early walk-through Wednesday, and then you're traveling Wednesday. So, yeah, it's awful for player safety and health.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's one they've got to get rid of. All right, let's hit 2 more facets from yesterday. Number 1, the highest scoring game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers win in New Orleans over the Saints 48-40.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Even though you don't care, congratulations.
The Bucs, for whatever reason, play well in New Orleans. Maybe they can swap cities, and then Tampa would become New Orleans and play better. I don't know.
And your boy Fitz.
Woo! Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Had himself a day.
21 of 28, 417 yards, and 4 touchdowns. The Bucs had 529 yards of offense. The Saints had 455. So that's 984 yards of offense in that game. Both teams are having a lot of defensive practice this week.
Yeah.
Can we tackle somebody? Can we defend a pass?
Can we do anything defensively?
Because Fitzpatrick threw the deep ball very well. And guys,
it helps when you're in a dome.
Yeah.
To throw that deep ball.
Right.
Yeah. No weather impacting you at all.
And
Fitzpatrick isn't a spring chicken.
No.
So I'm sure he enjoyed being in a dome, being able to just use his arm and not have to worry about wind or anything else.
Next up for the Bucs, Philadelphia. After that, the Pittsburgh Steelers. If Ryan Fitzpatrick can play well in those 2 games, I'm going to be anxious to see what happens when Jameis Winston comes back.
He better be the backup quarterback.
That's my thought. And if he's not, I'll really be frustrated with this team.
If the Bucs end up being 2-1 or 3-0 and Fitzpatrick has good games in all 3, and the coaching staff does the right thing, would that kind of put some love back in your heart for the Bucs a little bit?
Maybe. I mean,
to know the organization has realized they don't need to, after this time, they don't need to cater to Jameis.
Yeah, it'll help. It'll definitely
I'm not
help.
saying you're going to start hopping on the bandwagon buying cable and the NFL package.
No, that's not happening. But
I would think that would help a little bit.
Yeah.
Morale of you look interesting. Okay, they made the right decision.
You've got to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And again, if they lose a game, but it's not really Fitzpatrick's fault. I mean, if he's not going out and throwing
you're playing
2 or
the
3
Eagles and the Steelers. Those aren't easy games.
No. And the defense clearly did not have a great game, giving up 40 points against the Saints. Now, it's a pretty darn good offense, though, as well, with Drew Brees at quarterback. So, if they can go out and play well against Philly, play well against Pittsburgh, and split those 2, and Fitzpatrick continues to play well, to me, you got to keep him in there. He's an NFL veteran.
Yeah.
He's not a rookie. It's not like you're giving the reins over to some untried, untrued type of quarterback.
Yeah, you know what you're going to get.
That's it. And he knows the system. He's been there. He's been the backup. So, hopefully they'll do the right thing. All right, I know we've got to take a break, but before we do, I've got to get your thoughts on what happened at the end of the first half of the Patriots' win over Houston. With less than 2 minutes left in the first half, there was a ball from Tom Brady to Rob Gronkowski. It was a completion into double coverage for 28 yards.
It was not a completion.
Well, and that's the thing.
It was ruled a completion. It was not.
Questionable as to whether it was or was not. Well, the question became, why was there not a challenge? Well, it's inside of 2 minutes. Coach can't make a challenge.
It's got to come from upstairs, which upstairs now is New York.
Yes. Well, according to an article that I'm reading, and I'm looking at it on my phone right now from ESPN, the Patriots were able to get off the next play before New York could call for a review because the clock was under 2 minutes. Coach Bill O'Brien of the Texans could not could not challenge. The only thing he could have done, and he said he thought about it, was burn a timeout. That would give New York time to see the replays and say, hey, let's take a look at this play.
Yeah, but he's got to have guys upstairs call down to him and say, hey, call a timeout. They're going to review this. So in a way, it is New York's fault, and they need to figure out that whole system because this is the first time I think inside 2 minutes it's been an issue like this.
Yeah,
where the replays
understand.
don't come directly from the field.
If there's any kind of question at all, you have to look at it. But if you're taking away a coach's ability to throw a flag, or
then you have to enforce your ability.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotcha.
You can't allow that to happen.
All I'm saying is that the guys upstairs for the Texans didn't help either.
No, and O'Brien said his vantage point from the field, which is a tough vantage point sometimes, they thought it was a catch, and he said the guys upstairs initially...
And they didn't have time to go back and look at the replay. It was not a catch, however. They showed... I was watching the NFL Red Zone, and it clearly hit the ground.
And I've not seen the highlight yet, so I will go look at it later today just to verify. But, yeah, the NFL, again, it's another case of stupid rules. You know, can you not figure out that there are ramifications to these rules that you're throwing out there when you say inside of 2 minutes it's got to come from, New York, but yet a team can run up and run a play quick enough that New York doesn't get time to question the play?
Well, at what point does it become like college, where the clock stops and you wait for the chains to come up and the referee waits until everybody's set and you're good? Because then you're pretty much making it college. And it slows the game down, and it's not that situation doesn't happen all that often.
No, but
at some point you're still playing a game and you're still going to have the human aspect where there is human error.
But yet that was a crucial play because the Patriots go on to score. They put 21 points on the board in the first half and go on for a 27-20 win. So if you get that call right, may change the outcome of that game. And that's what the whole idea is, right? We got to get these calls right because they're impacting the outcome of a game. Well, here's one where the system itself, again, flawed.
Only one helmet-to-helmet flag, though.
Yeah.
In 14 games, so that was promising.
One player ejection in the Bengals game, but that was called unnecessary roughness. Flagrant, not helmet-to-helmet contact. All right, let's take a break. We're back with more Miller Time after this. It's Ram Truck Month at Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Martinsburg, and that means great deals all over the lot, like 2018 Ram trucks with up to $12,500 off. Stop by and inquire about the no money down specials and no payments for 90 days. Yet other great deals like 2019 Dodge Grand Caravans from $26,900 or a 2019 Chrysler Pacifica for 0% APR plus $500 Chrysler Capital Cash. With over 300 trucks, SUVs, vans, and cars in stock, you'll find just what you're looking for during Ram Truck Month at Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Kelly Island Road, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. All payments based on approved credit, taxes, tags, and processing fees extra. See dealer for details.
Come to Valley Guns 2 in Inwood for Smith & Wesson handguns like the MP 2.0 9mm full-size semi-automatic and the MP 2.0 compact. Or check out the Model 60 Pro Series Smith & Wesson revolver. For the ladies, there's the Smith & Wesson 380 Shield Easy. It's easy to load, easy to shoot, and easy to carry. See the full line of Smith & Wesson handguns at Valley Guns 2, Exit 5 off I-81 Inwood, West Virginia. Online at valleyguns2.com.
Since 1877, Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies have proudly supported our local community. Farmers and Mechanics has the insurance products to meet your needs, including home, auto, farm, dwelling fire, business owners, and umbrella coverage. Please contact your local independent agency for a review of your insurance needs and ask for a policy from the company that knows you best. Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies, just off Edwin Miller Boulevard on Administrative Drive in Martinsburg. FMIWV.com.
Do you have Medicare and do you use a CPAP machine? This is a national healthcare alert regarding your CPAP supplies. Using a clean CPAP mask and clean supplies is important to staying healthy. The best way to make sure your CPAP equipment is clean is to get new supplies. If you have Medicare, we have great news. Medicare will pay for you to have new clean supplies every 90 days. We'll even do all the paperwork for you to make sure that there's little to no out-of-pocket cost to you. And you don't even have to leave your home. We provide free in-home delivery. So if you're a CPAP user and you have Medicare, staying healthy with new CPAP equipment is easy. Just make this free phone call right now to get started.
Call the CPAP hotline now. 800-451-5205. 800-451-5205. That's 800-451-5205. Copays and deductibles apply. Supplies are replaced in accordance with Medicare guidelines.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, I like that. The House Majority Leader Darrell Coles and the Vice Chair of Finance Eric Householder.
Good morning.
When was the last time you heard I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill?
Oh, it's been a couple of years, I'm sure. Yeah, I was going to say every bit of a couple of years.
I thought Darrell would play that bill every day.
I used to have it on my old iPod.
Eastern Panhandle Talk with Rob and David.
Nice.
What did you listen to last week?
A bill.
I had to let the first part of those lyrics go because I'm just thinking that was the song playing in the minds of the Chicago Bears last night.
Yeah.
As they saw the bad moon, otherwise known as
the moon in Green Bay.
Aaron Rodgers rise from the ashes to bring the Packers back in a frenzied comeback. And I can only imagine what it must have been like to be at Lambeau Field, to be as down as that crowd had to be, and then to be as high as they had to be at the end.
Well, it was the 100th anniversary of the Green Bay Packers and Lambeau Field last night. So there was all that anyway. So you're having all those celebrations at halftime. You have basically the alumni team coming out. You're doing all the fan favorites in Green Bay Packer history coming out. But then you fall down 20-0 going into halftime. Okay, that's bad enough. Oh, and in the second quarter, Aaron Rodgers goes down with a left knee injury. This isn't good. And they're playing the Bears. They're playing their arch rivals.
Yes.
One of the best rivalries in football. Then, like you said, out of the ashes comes Aaron Rodgers in the second half. The dude can't put weight on his left leg and comes back and has one of the most heroic comebacks and greatest performances in Green Bay Packer history, and really one of the best and most heroic, gut-wrenching games in NFL history, I think. Watching that game last night, I watched it from start to finish, and I told you I was going to get poetic here. Watching that game last night...
Do I need to have some music in the background?
No, you're good.
No, okay.
There are certain times where you sit down and you're watching a sporting event that it clicks that you're watching one of the greatest of all time do one of the greatest things of all time. Watching Peyton Manning back in the 2000s come back and beat Tom Brady in the AFC Championship to finally go to a Super Bowl. Watching Tom Brady come back from the 25-point comeback in the Super Bowl. Watching Aaron Rodgers did what he did. It was just one of those moments you're watching going, I'm watching one of the greatest of all time do what makes him the greatest of all time. I mean, watching him make throws that he could only make on one leg pretty much. I mean, he wasn't hopping up the field on one leg. He could put weight on it, but he couldn't follow through it all. He could barely move around the pocket. So it was just one of those sport moments. It's like that in every sport. There's moments like that in every sport. It's a Kirk Gibson home run in baseball. It's just one of those moments where you're watching one of the best to ever do it do it at a high level and do it under circumstances that you're going, how is he doing this? And that's what makes them one of the best of all time.
And it's amazing how once the ball starts rolling down the hill, how quickly it picks up speed.
Yeah, once the Packers got to within 10, you're going, Aaron Rodgers is going to lead them back and win this game.
And the Bears are panicking.
Yeah.
You can just get that sense.
Yep.
They're pushing, trying to make a play. We've got to do something to turn this thing around. And it didn't matter what they were trying, it wasn't going to work. Because as much as you put this on Aaron Rodgers, let's put a little on that defense as well, because they clearly made some adjustments to hold the Bears down in that second half to allow Rodgers and the offense to get the comeback victory.
And the offensive line for protecting Rodgers, you really couldn't take too many hits in that second half. So really just a game that I'm glad I got to watch. And I guarantee will go down as one of the greatest games in Green Bay Packer history. And I'm listening to Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth last night. When Al Michaels says this is one of the greatest sporting events I've ever seen, the dude called the Miracle on Ice game.
Yeah.
He can say that. You know it was a pretty special game.
There you go. Hey, time for us to take a break at the bottom of the hour. Stay tuned for more Miller Time after this.
Like doing about 95, bumper to bumper, rolling side to side. Maybelline, why can't you be true?
CBS News update. President Trump just tweeted out a warning that Hurricane Florence, now headed for the East Coast, is very dangerous. He urged people to listen to state and local officials. National Weather Service forecaster John Quagliarello.
Tropical storm force winds will arrive well in advance of landfall, likely sometime Thursday morning, at which time all preparation should be completed. Landfall along the Carolina coast looks to occur late Thursday or Thursday night.
Virginia Governor Ralph Northam expects trouble.
Coastal storm surge, inland flooding that may be severe, high winds, and widespread power outages.
Maryland Governor Larry Hogan has already declared a state of emergency.
Particularly of concern are coastal and low-lying areas of the state and areas which have already received substantial rainfall over the last few days.
CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
Now, with your local forecast, weatherman Bob Kukin.
Cloudy weather and fairly mild temperatures overnight with a few evening showers wrapping up and winding down. We'll see the low at sunrise about 65. Cloud cover for the daytime tomorrow. A warmer day than the last couple with highs getting up closer to 80 degrees. Small chance of a shower, but not much to speak of rain-wise. And still pretty dry for Wednesday as well. I'm Bob Kukin, Talk Radio, WRNR.
If you want to experience moments of joy, excitement, and satisfaction, visit the Honda Summer Spectacular event, where well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on the 2018 Honda Pilot, part of KBB.com's 2018 Best Overall Brand. You've just entered car buying bliss.
Miller Honda, south of Winchester, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. www.mymillerhonda.com.
See dealer for financing details based on 2018 branded matures from Kelly Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for information.
You've been injured, you're missing work, the medical bill collectors keep calling, and the other person's insurance company wants a lot of confusing paperwork signed and returned. At Ferretti Law Office, we handle these situations to protect your rights and get you the compensation you deserve. We explain how the insurance coverages work for your benefit and what a lawyer like me can do to make a difference. Call Ferretti Law Office at 264-8505 to schedule an appointment to discuss your situation for free. At Ferretti Law Office, we're here to help.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
Lions a little after 7 o'clock Eastern. That'll be the first Monday Night Football game. Then it's Rams and Raiders. Still no word as to if Green Bay Packers superstar Aaron Rodgers will be available or not for this upcoming week. Has that knee injury. They are waiting on the return of some of the tests, although Rodgers says, yep, I'm playing. We do know this. Doug Baldwin from the Seahawks, a grade 2 partial MCL tear. Now, there still is no known factor on the severity of this, but typically it's a 2 to 3 week absence for that kind of injury. Delaney Walker, his season is done with a dislocated ankle, so bad news for him. Keegan Bradley beats Justin Rose in a playoff today to win the BMW Championship. 12 total baseball games were on the slate. Only 11 will be played. Mets and Marlins postponed to Thursday. I'm Keith Irizarry, and this is NBC Sports Radio.
Remember that last trip to the auto mechanic?
I also think your solenoid gasket is bad.
What?
Yep, that'll be another $500.
Forget that and go to D&N Auto Specialist at 230 Tavern Road, Martinsburg, where honesty is their best policy. Serving the Eastern Panhandle since 1974, D&N Auto is family-owned and operated, specializing in exhaust alignments and tires. From general maintenance to major overhauls, they'll treat you right. Call D&N Auto Specialist at 304-267-4078.
We welcome you back into Miller Time on this Monday evening. Matt Miller along with Matt Crawford, a 2-hour edition leading up to the Dana Holgerson Show. A chance to get the latest on the West Virginia Mountaineers, who scored a very impressive victory over the weekend. They got the win against Youngstown State by a final of 52-17. Youngstown State did a nice job, though, of keeping it close for a while.
They always do. And that the MO of this game is that it's going to be a tight game for the first quarter and a half, and then Mountaineers will do what they do and just air it out and totally dominate.
You know what was interesting, though, is they didn't fully air it out. I know, still a big game for Will Greer, especially the amount of rain that was coming down, the windy conditions. Although down in that bowl, I'm not sure how much the wind really impacts things.
It's got a good buffer on each side.
It does, and really now in the at the end of each end zone with stands and special suites and other things like that. But still, Will Greer threw for 332 yards and 4 touchdowns, and yet they were equally as strong on the ground. 4 different running backs running the football and running it very effectively.
Well, that's what they need to do. I mean, not to put it bluntly, they should do that. If you want to be considered a top 10 team, which they held strong at number 14, which you expected because no major upsets in the top 10. Some teams adjusted within the top 10 or teams right outside the top 10.
And you're playing an FCS.
Yeah, you're beating an
school,
FCS.
so
You're going to stay at 14. But that's what they need to do. If you want to get over the hump, where the last couple of years it's been the hype around WVU football, and they should be this good, they're going to be this good, you have to win those games by that amount of play. You have to. You need to show on all facets of the game that you can succeed like that, and they did. And Will Greer showed why he's a Heisman candidate. Again, you want to be considered a Heisman candidate in bad weather against a bad team, or I shouldn't say a bad team. They're not a bad FCS school.
Yeah, they're one of the better ones.
But against a school that you should throw for 300 yards, bad weather or not, if you want to be considered one of the best players and one of the best quarterbacks in the country, that's what you have to do, and Greer and the Mountaineers did that.
All right, let's hear from the man himself, Will Greer, following the victory over Youngstown State. Still efforting to get
there we go.
Will Greer.
I saved it in the wrong spot.
Ah, there it is.
All good. Here's Greer after the big win against Youngstown State.
We won. That was the goal. So my initial thoughts are that we did what we were supposed to do. Got a win. So want to know today, and that's what we talk about on the next week.
Well, at one point, 28-14 there, I believe. What changed for you guys after that, just into the third and after half? Seems you were able to blow it open after that.
Just adjustments and figuring out what was working and what they were kind of doing. And, that's just what we do. I think we're good at, adjusting to what the defense is doing and taking what they give us. So started to do that and started to score.
Reading weather games always friendly as the quarterback, but you didn't let that bother you. What did you go through in terms of adjusting to the weather conditions?
Yeah, you can't let it affect you. It's there. Everybody's playing in it, and it's wet and not ideal, but can you stop the rain? Next time maybe you can do that. No, it's something you got to deal with, but you can't think about it, and our guys did a great job with ball security, and that's a big part of it in the rain is holding on to the ball and making, looking all the way in when you catch it and making sure that you don't let it affect you.
Yeah, being there and watching in person and feeling the rain coming down and knowing the breezy, wet conditions, I was extremely impressed with the way that Greer threw the football and the way the receivers caught the football. and then held on to it afterwards.
It's a big part of the game.
It's a very important part.
I think you just answered that a little bit, but I know talking to you last week, I don't think it was on air, I think it was off air, but you were excited about going and seeing a Mountaineer game live. Number one, because of the atmosphere. Number two, because you hadn't been since the Stone Ages or the 80s, one of the two. But you were also excited.
That's the Metal Age.
Yes. You were also excited to see what Will Grier and this team looked like in person.
Yep.
Did they live up to the hype?
Yeah, I think they really did. In the early going, they had ball control offense from the opening possession, but, at first didn't get points that they would like to have gotten maybe. But yeah, overall, I thought the offensive line blocked very well. I thought the running backs certainly ran well, hit those holes, picked up yards. Will Grier looked good throwing. A number of different wide receivers that he was able to connect with in not ideal circumstances weather-wise. They didn't turn the ball over a lot, held on to the football. Defensively, they did get burnt, one particular defensive back, on two different occasions with a double move. They gave the little out and up, and the quarterback had a nice pump fake, and the Youngstown State quarterback threw a nice ball. And they got a couple of deep pass plays in that regard. There were a couple of times where you would like to have seen the defense maybe get a stop, but they didn't make the tackle that you wanted to see them make. But again, it's a good FCS school in Youngstown State.
Yep.
And so when you get done and go 52-17, I think I got exactly what I wanted to get out of seeing that game.
All right, the big question. Did Hannah have fun?
Yeah, Hannah had a blast. Yeah, my daughter will be 13 coming up, and that was her first big-time college football game. She's been with me to a number of Rams games growing up. She would be right there sitting on the countertop on her knees at Rams Stadium, and it's like, now, Hannah, get ready. The field's the same size, but the facility surrounding it is a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And so the walk up the steps when you first, you walk out and you see the field and go, wow. And then you turn and go, now, keep walking up there towards the top where the press box is. And you go...
See the sky? If you hit there, turn around real quick, and then we're sitting right below.
And then you get up there and turn around and get that view. Yeah, she really had a good time.
Good. So, that's all that matters.
That's
WVU got the win. Everybody had a good time.
Everybody had a blast.
Had a nice, I'm sure, leisurely 4-hour drive home.
Well, it wasn't that. We did get some traffic on the way out. That was fun.
I find it hard to believe there would be traffic in Morgantown.
Yeah, there was. Definitely.
After a football game, I don't buy that at all.
But also the rain, it was not a fun drive home as hard as it was raining. So, all right, we talked briefly about the balance that Mountaineer offense had. We heard from the quarterback, Will Grier. Let's hear from the offensive coordinator, Jake Spavata, and get some of his thoughts on how his offense played.
What they do defensively is tough. There's a reason why Coach Bellini's had so much success as a head coach in the Big Ten and winning national championships and Super Bowls and being a part of that because he knows what he's doing. It's a very tough scheme to go up against, and we talked about everything's going to be contested. And what the message the night before the game was, the story of the game is going to be the running backs and the safeties because they're a team that's going to give you a favorable box to run the ball into, and those safeties are going to fill from depth. At many times in the game, they were having just 4 defensive linemen in the game, and everybody was out in the box, and everybody was out. And, they were wanting us to run the ball, which I thought we got that running pretty efficiently and effectively at times, and I thought the running backs did a good job of making some explosive plays.
And there you hear from Jake Spavata. Yeah, I think the running game got going pretty good. The total yards gained, 299, yards lost 10. So in 46 attempts, the Mountaineers had 289 rushing yards, or an average of 6.3 yards per carry.
I'd take that every carry.
Well, and that's it. And listening to the fans around us as we were in the stands, you heard that on a pretty consistent basis, as there would be a handoff and a gain of 5 or 6, and everyone around is going, man, you run like that on first down, get 5, 6, 7, 8 yards, we'll take that every time.
And all that's going to do is open up the passing game. Because, again, it's nice to have a good running back, and it's nice to run the ball well, but running the ball well also helps you pass the ball extremely well. And when you have a dynamic offense passing the ball-wise, a dynamic aerial attack, running the ball well is only going to make your team that much better.
Absolutely, and as a result, well, the Mountaineers tallied 625 yards on 75 plays, or an average of 8.3 yards per play.
Not too shabby.
Now they just have to wait and see what the end of this week is going to look like.
Hurricane.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to be playing at NC State on Saturday, which is the original game plan.
There are some alternatives that would work.
And that's it. We were reading a little bit earlier where there's really three options. One option would be that the game could be canceled. Literally just, it will not be on the schedule.
Now, is this a home and home?
It is a home and home. And
so
part
that
of the...
would... Well, I was going to say that would be rough to have NC State. Okay, Mother Nature took its toll, and now all of a sudden we just don't get a home game.
Well, but that's what the article commented, that the next time that there would be an availability through the non-conference portion of the schedule would be like 2024. So it would be a case where they're scheduled to come to Morgantown next year, and of course, weather permitting, everything would go well, they would come, but then the Mountaineers may not be able to return the favor for another 4 years after that because of how all the scheduling works. So you're sure they'd try everything they can not to cancel it. The question was, well, what about postponement? Well, the two teams don't have an open date that fits in both schedules except for December the 1st. And that would be the case where if neither team is playing in their conference championship game. The conference championship games would be that weekend. So if NC State is not playing in that ACC championship,
which they won't be.
Right, you don't expect. But West Virginia, you would like to see playing in that Big 12 championship game. I mean, that could be them and Oklahoma playing back-to-back weeks because the Mountaineers host Oklahoma the day after Thanksgiving to close out the regular season.
And I get this is just to kind of fill the contract, but if neither team is in their conference championship, do you really want a non-conference do you really want to see NC State play WVU during conference championship weekend? I mean, how much attention is that going to draw when the fate of their seasons has already been determined? I mean, bowl games may not have been announced yet, but at the end of the day, you're going to lose any bit of hype you have for that game.
So that leaves option number 3, and that would be to find an alternative site that would be open and available. You know, there can't be a game going on.
That is outside of where this hurricane's going to hit.
And
so both teams traveling a good bit.
So you would have another neutral site game, which doesn't help NC State any because
they don't get the home atmosphere.
You wanted to host this game and have the...
The only thing I think that would make that okay is if next year they decide to make it a neutral site game.
Again, I guess that's part of all of the negotiations that are going on right now to try to figure out what's going to happen this weekend. Once we get word from the Mountaineers and the IMG Mountaineer Network, we'll pass that along to you. As of right now, the Mountaineers are supposed to play at NC State on Saturday, and we'll wait and see what comes with Hurricane Florence bearing down on the Carolinas. We got one more break to take, right?
We do.
Before we take that break, I want to give you your Mountaineer Minute your Maryland Minute. I keep thinking of the Mountaineer Report that Tony Caridi does. So,
I'm not even sure I want it anymore.
All right, then we'll just go on to the break. Now, I know you want to talk about how your Maryland Terrapins
beat Bowling Green, baby.
Hey, that was a tight game early. We kept looking at the score on the scoreboard up at Milan Puskar Stadium and going
7-0 after the first quarter. Bowling Green. Yeah, I was nervous. Don't worry, but yeah, it was a good win for the Terps. They came out and very similar to the way it was a tight game in Morgantown. They got their poop in a group and figured it out and were able to go on for the big victory.
45-14. Maryland gets the win. So they're 2-0 and a very winnable game at home against Temple this weekend.
It is a very winnable game. Temple's a little bit better of a team than Bowling Green, but the Terps relatively still injury-free. So I would like to think that they're going to improve to 3-0 on the weekend.
And that will be key. Do they have one more non-conference game before getting into ACC play?
Big Ten.
I'm sorry, Big Ten.
I know, it still hurts for me to say, too.
I know. Well, the other day I was looking something up on them and went, top 25, let me go ACC, and went, that's right, they're Big Ten.
It's a bye week.
Okay.
And then they'll have...
And then jump right into Big Ten play.
Yep.
Do you know their Big Ten opener?
I believe it is Minnesota.
Okay. So that's a winnable game.
Yes.
certainly one. It's not like you're jumping in going right up
You'd like
against
to
Ohio
think it's a
State.
winnable game. Yeah, no, you're not jumping right into Ohio State.
Well, speaking of the Mountaineers, speaking of conference openers, let's go that way. Now we turn back to the Mountaineers because we were speaking of Maryland or the Mountaineer Minute, whatever. Anyway, Kansas State.
Get to your point, man.
The Kansas State game. They've announced that'll be a 3:30 kickoff in Morgantown. So that's the 22nd. So the opener in the Big 12 will be a 3:30 kick, meaning coverage from the IMG network should begin at 12 noon right here on Talk Radio WRNR. Again, that's Kansas State at WVU.
And I was incorrect. They don't have a bye week, but they do open against Minnesota to start the season.
Okay.
So that'll be next weekend.
So Temple,
and then the weekend of the 22nd is Minnesota. Then they go to Ann Arbor and play Michigan. Fun.
Big game. All right, let's take one final break. We'll come back and wrap up today's Miller Time. Get more on the Mountaineers next with the Dana Holgerson Show. That's from 7 to 9 leading into Monday Night Football. We'll talk some high school football and rain and lightning when we come back with more Miller Time.
You came along and moved me, honey. I changed my mind. This love is fine. Goodness gracious, great ball of fire.
The Brown Funeral Home is hosting a charity golf tournament Friday, September 21 at the Woods Golf Course. It's the second annual Operation Rec for Vets, with 100% of the proceeds and donations going to the veteran men and women at our local VA hospital. The goal is to raise money for the recreational needs of the veterans that benefit the programs that the hospital provides. The tournament tees off at 10 a.m. at the Woods Golf Course in Hedgesville, with food provided by Chick-fil-A and dinner catered by the Woods. To be a sponsor, make a donation, or to register to play, call 304-263-8896.
You're at a red light. Sometimes it seems like they never change. You wish you could magically turn that red light green. I'm Lori from Bechtel Jewelers. I can't help you with the street lights, but I can help you if you happen to have red lights at home. Red lights at home are even more frustrating than red lights on the street. No matter what you do or say, she gives you the red light. Is it possible to change that red light to green? I have incredible news. Unlike red lights on the street, you really can turn red lights at home into green. Put our light-changing gifts to the test. Stop in at Bechtel Jewelers. In minutes, we'll send you on your way with a little box that has a light-changing surprise for her inside. A beautiful diamond ring, earrings with her favorite gems will help you pick the perfect gift. And when she sees her gift sparkling up at her, well, those red lights at home turn to green. Bechtel Jewelers, Route 11 South, Inwood. We'll help you turn red lights into green.
West Virginia football. He's going to go all the way in. Touchdown. Lives here. And here we go. A home run ball deep downfield. And he makes the catch right up the middle he goes. He's on his way. It's a foot race. He's going to score. 15, 10-foot. End zone. Touchdown. West Virginia.
The Mountaineers invade Raleigh to face NC State on Saturday, September 15th. Only on your home for Mountaineer football.
Talk Radio WRNR, your local leader in talk, news, sports.
Well, my daddy left home when I was 3, and he didn't leave much to Ma and me. Just this old guitar and an empty bottle of booze.
That's some good music coming back.
A boy named Sue. Can't beat the Man in Black.
Not at all. Very nice. Yeah, they were talking on Eastern Panhandle Talk with Rob and Dave the other day. They have their top 4 musical selections as far as, these are the tops, and they were trying to still debate on number 5, and Johnny Cash was in the mix, but they still haven't narrowed it down yet.
So I can't imagine they haven't been decisive on something in the morning show. Doesn't sound like them at all.
Yeah, join them in the mornings. In fact, tomorrow morning, it'll be Matt Crawford in studio running things during Eastern Panhandle Talk with Rob and Dave. I'll be going out at 7 in the morning to the Berkeley Senior Center on High Street in Martinsburg, setting everything up, as the crew will be there for the Day of Caring. So looking forward to that broadcast tomorrow morning. Tune in from 8 to 10 for all of that. And, of course, tune in from 6 to 8 for all the information that you will need to get your day started. And
the morning fuel.
A few less road closures and school maybe being back on time and all of those kind of things.
Maybe.
Wow. Yeah, incredible, the rain that we've gotten through this weekend. And it really all got started Game Time Friday.
Yep.
It was
the
dry.
50-minute rain delay at Coburn Field, and then 2 games getting postponed. So It was a wet one Friday night.
The Jefferson County schools decided to push it to Saturday, which wasn't a whole lot better, as Musselman got the 22-0 win at Jefferson, and Millbrook got a 46-6 win at Washington. Meanwhile, Martinsburg shut out Eastern 47-0. We got a chance to talk with head coach David Walker about that victory.
Just a lot of anticipation. I mean, we're just constantly looking out and checking the weather and, looking for lightning. And, we just had to have good communication with the officials and with the other team just to make sure we were all on the same page of when we could start. And, of course, our athletic trainer is the one who made the delays because of the lightning, so she was keeping track of the weather. So, we wanted to try to get out and try to get it started as soon as we could. So once we did decide to play, we didn't have a whole lot of warm-ups.
Were you able to stretch and do some things in the locker room before going out to then hit that short warm-up time?
We did. We actually did some yoga. Coach Sherman led him through it with yoga, so which he's been doing for, in his classes, and a lot of them have him. So
first shutout for your defense this year. What was it about Eastern that just the defense was locked in?
I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that I think the weather played a factor, and the fact that Eastern, they really weren't real strong offensively. They had, really nice quarterback that could run, and a really good receiver, but they really weren't the caliber team that we were expecting. So I think that, and then our defense, we did play pretty well. We gave up a couple big plays, but I thought we did a pretty good job just keeping them out of the end zone.
How pleased were you with the opening kick? You got a very solid return, no mistakes this go around, and then you're able to take the early lead.
Yeah, we got off to a great start, and what we wanted to do, and especially after the last 2 weeks, so I was pleased with that.
Do you attribute some of the penalties? There's a pretty high number of flags thrown on Friday night. Was that kind of just the atmosphere and the delay and everything kind of mixed together?
I don't know. I mean, there's no doubt we were making those mistakes. There was a one holding call that I wasn't sure about, but we were sloppy. Both teams were, and we had some miscommunication stuff up front that created some problems for us. But we just. Just the rain, just the whole night was just a sloppy night. So I wasn't pleased with our performance overall.
At the same time, another very strong rushing performance. What has been the key to getting this ground game going with not one, but really three different backs?
Well, first of all, those guys, they did a great job running the ball. There were some big holes there. I thought we did a good job, in our run blocking, and I thought, we were pretty solid there, and then I thought we got sloppy as the game went on. As we got that big cushion, I wasn't happy with our effort. I thought we got a little sloppy, a little lazy. But we've got some talented running backs, so I was glad to see those guys get out and get in the end zone.
Take us into what you're seeing through 3 weeks in your quarterback play, still continuing that rotation of Grant Harmon and Elijah Banks.
I thought both of them did a nice job. We're still making mistakes that we need to try to clean up, but I thought overall both of them did a pretty nice job. And this is one of those deals where the game called for either one of them to be able to come out and play, and we, as far as what we're doing with our quarterback stuff, I'm pleased with what we're doing, but there may be some games that one we're going to favor the other just because of what we're seeing. So, that may not always be the case with what we're doing. But right now, I think both of them are doing a good job, and I'm just looking forward to both of them getting better.
Well, this team off to a 3-0 start, but you hear from Coach still certainly things that they need to be working on with some tough games ahead.
Yeah, a lot of penalties.
Yeah.
In Friday night's game, and against a team like Eastern, and there's even quite a few penalties in the H.D. Woodson game. There's been a few penalties in all the games pretty much. There's been, I think, a few. Obviously a coach never wants penalties, but it's going to happen at the high school level. Right. But a good amount of penalties in all 3 games. So, like he said, they're a little sloppy on Friday night, and again, that can be contributed to just being flat out better than Eastern. Sometimes you get a little slop when you know that you're going to beat them handily, but at the same time, the defense gets their first shutout of the year. Yep. So you can take good things away, but also you're just going to fix the sloppiness a little bit with the penalties, because you face a team like Shenandoah when you get into the playoffs, deeper into the playoffs, you can't be making those mistakes.
Next up will be Spring Mills. They scored a 49-12 win against Hampshire over the weekend. And as we mentioned, Musselman the win at Jefferson 22-0. Hedgesville a 42-7 victory at Mountain Ridge. So some good football going on right now in Berkeley County as 4 of the 6 Eastern Panhandle Athletic Conference teams, 2-1 and/or 3-0. That's going to do it for today's program. Stay with us. It's the Dana Holgerson Show. Coming up next, you're listening to Talk Radio WRNR Martinsburg and today's edition of Miller Time.
The following is a presentation of ING, America's home.